Zach, I understand that you just delivered this joke, but welcome to our High School of the Dead podcast, episode 3, where we're talking.
Just kidding, just kidding, everybody. We wouldn't review High School of the Dead. This is our Rings of Power podcast.
Yeah, we wouldn't review trash.
Yeah, instead of reviewing the Rings of Power.
Zach, I have really good news.
What's the good news?
I got an email back from the management at YouTube.
The email back from the management at YouTube.
Yeah,
Susan was like, "What's up?"
Yeah, they said that they would do promotional stuff. They would broker promotional stuff between us and the Bad Dragon Dildo Company.
Seriously?
They said that they would only do that if people subscribe, though.
Oh, okay. So Susan's like, "Yo," Susan, who owns YouTube, popped in to your email. She's like, "Hey, what's up?" And she gave you her number. She called. She's like, "Yo, I am a huge Bad Dragon collector. I got friends at Bad Dragon. I own so many. I have my own custom discount code. Just type Susan into Bad Dragon. It's a discount code at the checkout. It's 50% off on all purchases."
Yeah, who's the CEO of Google? He was CC'd on the email, and he didn't even reply. He didn't reply all. He replied to me personally, saying that he has such an extensive collection that he wants to show some off on camera. They're doing it's going to be part of their new YouTube After Dark sort of thing, but only if people subscribe.
Yeah,
said
if
that's
you
the
have
only
to
way they'll do it.
subscribe, it's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's the only way we'll get the entire YouTube and Google staff to do a Bad Dragon unboxing on this channel, which they said they would do, and we wouldn't lie to you about this.
They said they would do it, Zach. They were very clear. Zach, hello. Welcome to episode 3 of The Good Dragon Show. Maybe. So far,
So far, it's been a pretty alright Dragon Show. It's definitely got its warts, but at the same time, I can't complain all that much.
Yeah.
There's no betrayal either. They're sticking pretty close to the source material.
I'm out here and I flip-flop kind of. At the same time, I want to love it and hate it. Because I, like everyone else, really want it to be the best damn thing I've ever watched. And it's not. What it is very good.
I would say it's pretty good. I can think of multiple TV series that were better and way, way more that were worse.
Yes.
So I can't be very, very angry at it. But what I can be is optimistic that some things improve as we go further along, because they're covering a very, I guess, awkward phase of the history where they have to go through a lot very quickly. And I think that might be part of the reason we have some of the problems they do have. But I like the show more than I dislike it.
I'm very pleasantly surprised.
I cannot say that about 4 whole seasons of the Bad Dragon Show. So I think that's a step up from the back half of a Game of Thrones.
I would say that it is solidly on par with season 1 of Game of Thrones. It's because what we just had, you read blanket spoilers for the first 3 episodes of House of the Dragon from here on out. What we had today was an episode designed to move pieces. Pieces were moved and relationships were shifted, changed, and established so that interesting things can happen to them later. There were interesting things that happened to this episode, but what we did today was set up things for later. And that's okay. That happens. That there are episodes in season 1 of Game of Thrones that are kind of fucking boring. Oh shoot, I did that. I swore at 4 minutes 40 seconds. Oh well.
Oh well, we're not getting good views on this video, I guess. No. What was I gonna say? there's some like things in here that are very reminiscent of the early seasons, but there are also things that are reminiscent of the later seasons, just handled better. Like for example, uh, Daemon Matt Smith Targaryen has apparently crafted Valyrian plot armor this episode.
I I don't have as much of a problem with that as I thought that I might.
I didn't either when the scene finally played out, and
Yeah.
it ended up being a pretty good scene.
Yeah.
But like, man, oh man, was like, okay, one of those volleys should have murdered him by now.
Now,
You can only dodge so many arrows.
now, in fairness, it is one guy through smoke from on top of cliff faces. He should have been hit, but it's not unreasonable to imagine him not being. But also, the direction of that scene shouldn't have been that. It should have been fewer archers.
Yeah, yes.
There was
correct.
like 20 people up on that cliff.
Then the funny thing is, you picked a very good point in the timeline to have these massive, awe-inspiring battles. You don't need to do that now. You can start small and like build up. You will get to the point where you have dragons dueling in the air and like hundreds of archers firing into the skies and like people wailing on each other with swords and axes. Like that's going to happen for sure. You didn't need to make the fight against a crab feeder like this.
Let's
it's Helm's Deep.
let's put that aside, right? Like, we'll talk about that scene when we get there. That scene is all the way at the end of the episode.
Yes.
Let's instead start talking about the parallel to that scene at the beginning of this episode, because this episode was like really nicely bracketed. It was Daemon and the crab feeder right at the beginning, and then Daemon at the crab feeder right at the end. At the very first scene of the episode was the crab feeder and his men taking a Valerian ship and torturing a guy, and then Daemon swoops in and like drives them off, right? And I thought that was a beautiful scene right at the beginning, where I said last episode, right, that this is going to be a lesson in why we don't use Dragonfire. Because Dragonfire doesn't end conflicts. It suppresses opponents, but a skilled opponent goes and hides in the caves like it's Iwo Jima, right? And they all go to ground, and that's exactly what happened. So what it ended up being is a napalm goddamn nightmare for 3 years.
Yeah, they just made the conflict bloodier, and I think it's a little comical the person gets stepped on by a dragon, but like it was a good establishment that like sending in someone with a dragon does not make your problem go away. It just makes your problem different.
Yes. Man, my guy, because like that scene, that moment when the loudest torture victim, the torture victim most efficient at exposition, gets squished by a dragon. Like, I actually jumped. I saw it coming from about 10 seconds away, and I actually jumped.
I don't think I love the design on a computer, by the way. I feel like if I'm going to give some shout outs to this episode, even though he says and does literally nothing except stand in a cave and stare outside, they went like whole hog on that costume design, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. He's so good looking.
Yeah, I can admire a really good designed costume in fantasy. The production design has been on point, with the exception of the point where you can see where they forgot to green screen his fingers out, which I didn't notice until it was pointed out to me. So I can't actually complain all that much. But yeah, that was a very visually good episode, with the exception of the CGI animals that were kind of bad.
Don't
But,
talk to me about the CGI animals.
The CGI animals went to the same acting class as Matt Smith's wig.
We'll get there. We'll get to the CGI. All right, Zach. Do you have the plot synopsis up, or do you want me to just start talking about stuff I liked?
Why don't you throw the plot synopsis up for this one, since I've done it for the last two.
Sure.
We'll trade places here. I also have watched it more recently, but I am also kind of struggling to remember some things. I think I have a good grasp on what happened in the episode.
All right.
Though.
So while I'm doing that, you're going to be managing the visuals, right?
I sure can. Do you want me to stream something? Hold on.
No, this was a joke because I'm already managing the visuals. Also, I forgot to share the stream with you, and that's not gonna.
I'm just gonna.
Yep, we're not fixing it now.
I'm just gonna take it on faith that you are putting the good images up for our viewing audience.
Okay, here we go. So after that scene, we return to court politics. It has been 2.5 years since the last episode, something like that.
Something of that sort.
Yeah, and Aegon the Second Targaryen has just been born.
He's a real cute. It's his second name day, and he's really cute.
Yeah, he's cute, and somewhat humorously, he looks like me, and that's weird. It's very weird to me, Zach. It's very weird.
I didn't process that, but I totally see it.
He does. He looks like everyone in my family, and I don't like it. Yeah, there he is.
I'm gonna resist making so many Targaryen jokes about your family, so I can continue to host this show.
Zach, I don't think I can do episode synopsis and visuals at the same time. I think we're gonna have to switch roles next time.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Let me pull up the episode synopsis.
Oh my god, I found one from NPR.
Ooh. With their crisp NPR voices.
Oh, yes. This is a direct quote from that article. Woo, I say. A qualified woo.
Second of his name.
Yeah.
Wikipedia. So 2 years. So it's been 2 years in the War of the Stepstones against the Triarchy. Courageous Crab Theater Frahar is going very poorly. Guerrilla tactics, which, they're pirate Viking-y, sort of people. You should have expected them to fight pirate-y people.
Yeah. We like them. They're very fun.
King's Landing. Alicent is pregnant with Viserys' second child, already giving birth to Aegon. They go on a hunting trip to celebrate Aegon's second name day. And Viserys is trying to marry off Rhaenyra to a powerful lord. Rhaenyra is you're trying to get me out of your way so Aegon can take over. And Viserys doesn't really... Well, she never directly says that, and Viserys never directly really challenges her on that until later. There's a phenomenal Lord Jason Lannister, who's been the peak of memes across these subreddits that I get my A Song of Ice and Fire memes from. Taking his Casterly Rock quote verbatim and putting it over the dude explaining things or woman loudly explaining things meme, which very, very funny. That has been the best meme so far of the show, is dunking on Jason Lannister.
It's so good, dude. This episode was full of pithy one-liners. I wrote down a couple of them. Quote, Jason Lannister is an excellent match. Then Rhaenyra responds, he's arrogant and self-serious. And then Viserys goes, I thought you might have that in common.
It's a good one.
And that sounded like something that my mom would say to me.
I can hear that in your mom's voice is the worst
It's
part.
pretty good. It's pretty funny, dude.
That is an exact exchange I could see happening in your living room.
Oh, let's see. So there's all of this
Oh, that's
wonderful.
funny.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. There's all of this wonderful like royal pageantry, right? It's a royal hunt, a real royal hunt. Where there's like 1,000 people who have come on this hunt. They're all here. There's Lannisters. There's Estermonts, right? There's red wines, and everyone is doing the court politics thing. And all of this is backdropped by the stress that Rhaenyra is under, feeling obliged to marry, and feeling like she's being replaced for the throne, and the war in the Stepstones with Daemon and Corlys Velaryon.
Yes.
And all of this is happening in the background of this celebration for baby Aegon's second birthday. Did I sum that up? Is that
Pretty much, yes.
That's the situation?
And they're hunting for a white stag, which is like a classic piece of medieval symbolism. It's something that if you've played any Crusader Kings 2, as I have done in abundance, is a really meaningful like symbol of prestige and power and all that.
Tom rolls his eyes and says that themes are for 8th grade book reports, but says okay.
It's well, okay. There's our 8th grade book reports, but like the show is leaning really, really heavily into the White Stag thing.
I do like it. I do like it.
Which I thought was neat. I was like, oh, hey, that's like a huge like medieval like lore thing.
Yeah,
what it's supposed to represent. And Viserys ends up not being able to catch one, but one is out there.
Yes,
which I thought was an interesting little thing they did.
And that
might have been a little, it might have been a little like on the nose, but like I still think it was a worthwhile addition to the story.
Yeah, that one is not found by Viserys, but rather by Rhaenyra, and it is supposed to be a symbol of worthiness to rule, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The slaying or finding the white stag is supposed to be like a blessing, a grace upon you almost. It's supposed to be like only someone who is truly august and noble should ever encounter, let alone slay such a thing.
Yes.
And Rhaenyra being the one who finds it is symbolism for the potential greatness of her rule.
This is also, Boar, please. Boar. Oh, I typed in House of the Dragon, and it brought up some good old-fashioned Gendry memes.
Good.
Yeah. So they're at this feast, and Rhaenyra, like, gets mad and rides away. They're at the hunt, rather, and Rhaenyra rides away, and, rides off into the woods. And Sir Criston Cole follows her, and there's these two parallel little plot lines going on where Rhaenyra is trying to come to terms with the fact that she might be replaced, and Viserys is struggling with whether or not he should do that. Meanwhile, everyone in the damn kingdom seems to have already assumed that he would, now that he has a male heir.
Yeah, there's a presumption there that, well, okay, he only did that to make sure Daemon couldn't inherit.
Yes.
And now that that's significantly less likely, Rhaenyra is going to be bumped down to just, a princess.
Yep. And this was exemplified in a couple of places. In particular, Lord Jason Lannister comes and gives this spear to Viserys. And he's like, I will build her. She will be very happy as the Lady of Casterly Rock. And Viserys is like, excuse me? you said the Lady of Casterly Rock, and Lord Lannister like looks really uncomfortable, and he's like, well, yeah, you're naming you threw this hunt because you're gonna name Aegon the heir like today, right? And Viserys is like, no, have people been saying that?
Yeah, exactly.
It's really good.
It's a very good scene. I'm very, very pleased with that exchange. And like, but Rhaenyra still believes that she's more likely than not to be replaced, which like, with the way people are behaving, she's justified in believing that.
Yes.
What I like here is that it's not just characters like refusing to communicate clearly with each other. Viserys is like conflicted because people are advising him to let Aegon rule instead. People are telling him like marry Rhaenyra off to somebody important. Marry Rhaenyra and Aegon. Like go full Targaryen.
Yeah, Otto Hightower says betroth Rhaenyra and Aegon, which was wild.
It certainly rules out that like potential succession crisis between them, which like, that maybe that's a good idea in the long run actually, but it certainly wouldn't please the lords nor the faith for that to be what happens.
Yes. All right, Zach, I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
So that was a interesting suggestion. I'm still not sure exactly how to read Otto, which is great. I'm not sure whether I should trust him or not.
All right, you ready for this? I'm going to say a great sentence. Somewhere in the next 6 to 8 sentences, I am going to say the linchpin of a theory that I'm working on. It occurred to me while I was watching the last episode, but I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Okay?
Excellent.
One of the reasons that I have been liking this show, that I liked this episode more than some other people, is because I feel like we set up a lot of things. This was a setup episode. We set up a whole bunch of things that are going to be important later.
Yes.
We established a bunch of people. We introduced the Strong family. We introduced the hold on just 1 second. Entertain the crowd for just 1 second.
I'm entertaining the crowd. We introduced a lot of things, including the boar that kills King Robert shows up. It's the same boar. He lived a very long time. It's because he's a boar high, and it's real. The Game of Thrones writers are just too afraid for that to be the ending. And that's why they made up their own.
Okay, I'm back.
I hope I'm not... Okay, good. I was running out of
we're Abora High was in fact present. We assume it's the same boar, came back from the dead, reborn amidst salt and smoke.
Yes.
Or maybe it's like a Kill Bill thing. Maybe the boar in Game of Thrones is the boar's kid or something like that. Okay, so we establish a bunch of things.
Hey, Robert, tricks are for kids.
We got. I really liked Alicent trying to repair her relationship with Rhaenyra. I thought that was really I found that extremely
very
compelling.
poorly, but there was an attempt.
Yeah. I have another pithy one-liner from when I'm going to use the phrase ladies of the court, from when the ladies of the court were all in that room in one of the tents. And they are talking politics. And it is clear that there is discontent among the noble houses. Because they're sitting there, basically openly criticizing the king.
Yeah.
In plain view of a number of people, including the crown princess.
Yes.
And that does not bode well, Zach. That is really meaningful. And that was one of the points where Alicent tried to repair her relationship with Rhaenyra. Alicent was like, I am confident that Rhaenyra will be a good queen. Rhaenyra is the best choice, or something like that. Which is really cool. Also, Lady Redwine was like, Viserys is doing nothing. And Rhaenyra, like, observes her fingernails and says, "And how are you helping the realm lately, Lady Redwine? By eating cake." And then everybody goes, "Ooh." Lord Strong, I think the Elder Lord Strong, one of Viserys's advisors, also recommends a marriage proposal. Recommends marrying Rhaenyra to Laenor Velaryon, who in the same episode we get a shot of him flying a damn dragon.
Yes, we do.
Which was awesome. We have another named dragon in the series, Zach. I love the way they're drip feeding the dragons. It's amazing.
Yes.
His dragon, by the way, I don't believe it's named in the episode, but his dragon, his wonderful, like, blue-gray dragon, is named Sea Smoke. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah! 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 Not a lot of dragon action, although, you know, I love me some, like, wiggly Caraxes. It's so good.
Yes.
I lost my train of thought talking about setup things. Hold on. I still have, like, 2 more sentences. Hold on. Viserys killing the stag, I thought was, like, wonderfully foreshadowy.
Yeah.
Like, it like the butchering of a scared, trapped animal while a bunch of eager people watch on is, like, clinically disgusting. It was vile.
It was not. There was no, like, honor in this hunt and honor in the kill. It was very like, honestly, sort of pathetic. It wasn't like a lucky shot with an arrow that brought it down and one fell. It was a failed attempt to stab it that caused a lot of pain, followed by a successful attempt that also caused a lot of pain.
And are you ready? You ready for a take? Ready for a take here?
Mm-hmm.
I think that scene with all of these eager people watching on while Viserys stabs to death an innocent animal, I think that is meant to be a metaphor for sugar. Are we how strict are we on spoilers in this series, Zach?
I think people know that there's a conflict brewing.
Okay.
So.
All right. You ready? Then I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
If you want 0 spoilers, dead ass click away from the video right now. Okay. I think that is a metaphor for how Viserys is being treated right now.
Interesting.
A bunch of grinning, smiling, eager people surrounding him while he is both intentionally and unintentionally stabbed to death. Metaphorically, but from a political perspective, right?
Yeah, for his political legitimacy is being chipped away.
Possibly from a literal perspective, because it is unclear at this point whether Maester Melos is actually helping his hand injury, because he is now missing 2 whole ass fingers.
Yeah.
And that's... God, it's compelling. God, this show's compelling. Holy cow.
They're doing a good job making, like, us care about these characters we must necessarily care about. I'm giving them all the props in the world for that.
Viserys kills a stag. Let's see if we can get a good shot of this. No, I guess it doesn't want to. Yeah, there we go. This scene. It doesn't. It's not showing actually what happens, but it's this scene where he's, like, clearly uncomfortable killing this innocent creature.
Yes.
Man, it's so good. Okay. All right. Other stuff we got to talk about. Rhaenyra was attacked by a boar, and it was kind of dumb. Then she brutally stabs it in this moment of passion. Which I found deeply uncomfortable, but also kind of compelling. Is that a fair take?
I think it's not a bad take.
Okay. What else? Hold on. Rhaenyra attacked by a boar. Can we get that image? Guess not.
House of the Dragon Boar.
We have boar. The word boar has its own page on a Wiki of Ice and Fire.
Nice.
Just
I wonder
imagine
if it's the one that killed Robert.
it's basically exactly like this, but Rhaenyra was there. Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
just like
Wonderful. What else? What other wonderful things happened in this episode? I have a couple of good takes, but what else happened that you were fond of? Because most of my things are at the end of the episode.
No, I want to talk about the bonfire scene. It's my favorite scene of the show so far.
Oh yeah, you go nuts, please.
So far, this has been the best show of or scene of the show in what I think is the weakest episode so far. But they proved that they can still have a phenomenal scene. It's just Viserys is standing by a massive bonfire. Alicent walks up, and he's like genuinely emotional. He's like really like feeling through all of his problems. How he's trying to go out and do one, fun thing for his son's second name day. Go on one like, king-like extravagant adventure that everybody can go on. He's basically on like a family camping trip when you think about it, and everything's going to shit and nobody's getting along. And
Yeah, I really liked the phrase, I just want to enjoy my son's name day and I'm sick of all this fucking politicking.
Yeah. Yeah, he wants to like just be a person who can live a normal life, and he's fated to never be able to do that.
Yeah, he just wants to. He just wants to he just wants to enjoy his kid's birthday.
Yeah, and he can't even do that, which is a real bummer for him.
Yeah. But all of this pressure builds, and he's standing in front of the bonfire with Alicent.
Yes, and he just gets genuinely choked up and emotional, and wants to try and do the right thing for himself, for his daughter, and it's just like incredibly like tasteful and well done, and like the kind of character moments that like we're gonna need for this show to like be as good as it can be, is for us to understand like what our characters are going through, what they're feeling, why, and I just wanted to shout out that this scene did it particularly well. And it's there we see like the gears start to turn his head a little bit too, of how he can try and at least like make his own life a little bit less miserable, and that leads to the ending of this where he tells Rhaenyra she has to marry, but it can be whoever she wants.
Yes.
It's a very straight line you can draw from that scene to that resolution, and it makes it feel earned when it happens.
Yeah. Rhaenyra says to the effect of, they're back from the hunt, right? And Rhaenyra says, I always knew you were going to replace me. And Viserys says, I am not going to replace you. And he looks her in the eye and says, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought about it. I really did. But you are my heir, and you will be queen. And no one will supplant you. And it was this really touching, heartfelt scene. It was great. And Rhaenyra is like, I can't believe you're trying to sell me to Casterly Rock. I know I'm just cattle to you now. Now that you have a son. And Viserys says, you have misjudged me. You have to marry, because it is your duty to marry. You have to strengthen your own line. I am not going to sell you to Casterly Rock, and I'm not going to replace you, but you do have to get married. You can pick who you want.
Yeah, if I picked somebody I thought I would get along well with, and it worked out for me.
Yep.
I owe you the same courtesy.
Yep. And I thought that was a really, honestly, a really nice, like, frankly, very touching moment at the end of the episode.
Yeah. It humanizes these characters who are in a messy political situation. lets us get the context of like why they would make the decisions they do. So when we see the consequences later, like it has more meaning to it. We understood the decisions that were made to get here were not just like, whoops, didn't think about that. There was real thought put into it, and the political ramifications were just not considered.
Yeah. And all of these decisions that are being made are setting up for the conflict later. Every sentence that someone says is going to serve to better themselves or to bite themselves in the ass.
Yep.
Also, Larry's Clubfoot has made an appearance in the show, and he is one of my favorite characters from the books, and I'm really excited.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. Larry's Clubfoot. Larry's Clubfoot.
For your Clubfoot.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, has it sucked to be known for your Clubfoot? That's the first characteristic people bring up.
Yes. Yeah, it sure is. That must not be fun. But he does seem to own it. Like he walked into like the ladies of the court, and he was like, "Pardon me, ladies. Do you mind if I sit with you? The gods did not make me for hunting." And I thought that was really, that was funny and clever, and I feel for his character. I like it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Zach, before we go on to the end of the episode, which is really the plot core of the episode, I think I would love to take a break for Tom's bad takes on the internet.
Please give me your bad takes from the internet.
I got a couple. No, these aren't bad takes. These are just excellent takes. These are just takes that I really like.
Go for it. You're not going to quote the Ben Shapiro review?
It's funny you say that.
Oh, no.
Quote! From Ben Shapiro's review of House of the Dragon, Season 1, Episode 1.
Oh, no.
Quote, all the left-wing commenters are screaming, it's about abortion. It's not about abortion. Unquote.
I mean, yes and no.
Ben. Oh, Ben. That's not a good take.
It's that scene from the first episode in particular. I mean, it's definitely about a woman's right to have some amount of control over her body and whether she wants another kid, because she very clearly was not super enthused with that idea.
Yeah, it is about. As a matter of fact, Zach, this whole story is about the autonomy of women in a system that does not consider them people.
Yeah, that's a huge aspect. But like I've always said from the beginning, I was worried that would be the only thing going on in the story. I was never worried that would be a part of the story, because it has to be. It's a huge aspect of it.
It can't not be. It can't not be, Ben. Bodily autonomy is the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the only point. You're right. Not the only point, but a point.
Yeah, the role women play in a medieval society, or a society at the very least that does not value women at the same level as men, is a huge aspect of the story. And women as child bearers is necessarily a major aspect of that.
Oh, this person, Ben Shapiro, is going in the thumbnail.
Don't make it. Can I make him Targaryen?
No. You can make him Bolton.
Why don't I make him Bolton? I feel like making him Targaryen's more effective for this this thumbnail.
You can make him. You want to make him. You want to make him Carthene? That seems appropriate.
No, what? Maybe?
You can make him Ironborn. Make him Ironborn.
I could.
We'll talk about it. Carrying on. Bad takes on the internet. No, I'm sorry. Incredible takes. Tom's incredible takes. Quote, Viserys wavering refers not to his thinking about naming Aegon the heir. He says, I did waver. When he's talking to Rhaenyra, he says, I did waver. And it is ambiguous what exactly he means there. And this take is, Viserys wavering refers not to his thinking about naming Aegon the heir, but to a bastard he may have. So he says, I did waver, and they're talking about Rhaenyra's mother. I interpreted that as I wavered when thinking about whether to make you the heir or not.
Yeah.
Other people have interpreted that as I wavered in my fidelity to my wife. And I watched that scene back, and strictly speaking, that could be, that it is ambiguous which of those things he means.
That's a valid interpretation, but...
That's some, Zach, that's some tinfoil right there.
That is tinfoil. Now, we're very pro tinfoil on this channel, so we cannot, in good conscience, tell this person, nah, where the hell are you coming from?
Yeah.
We're well past comments. Where the fuck are you coming from? We can't say that and have the two Lannisters in a trench coat video on this channel. So, yeah, that's a possibility.
Now, the fact that I don't think that's true doesn't mean that I don't like it. That's not what that means.
Exactly. Because, like, whether he had a bastard or not, spoilers, will come into play later. Very briefly, in more of a minor role. But, like, that is a thing that is discussed later in the book, is my understanding. And Valyrian bastards, in a general sense, are going to be an important part of stories down the line. Especially if we ever get to Dunk and Egg.
Tywin Lannister has gone missing. He was last seen a horse.
Yeah, last seen a horse.
I got two more here. 45 minutes of dragon fight and 15 minutes of politic is better than 45 minutes of politic and 15 minutes of dragon fight, and that's a bad take.
It's a very bad take. The politics were better. The politics this episode were better than the dragon fight this episode. It wasn't a particularly bad dragon fight, but the politicking was actually more entertaining to me.
That's
like I said, my favorite scene is the bonfire scene.
That's the sort of person who loves season 7 of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
However, like, I do think that they got a real good ratio this episode. It was
where are you getting these takes from?
The day after the episode, I go searching for review videos with like 1,000 views or less.
Are you pulling the people up? Are we cyberbullying people?
No, that's why I'm not referencing them by name.
Good call. Wanted to make sure.
Hold on, I'm gonna bring up a picture of Sea Smoke. Because we're talking about
Ben Shapiro. I think we're well within our rights to tell Ben Shapiro he has a bad take.
Correct.
We're not going to be the first people to tell him that.
Absolutely. And finally, and this is related. I got two takes. I got two takes here. One of these is somebody else's, and one of these is mine. The somebody else's is, you remember that scene at the beginning when Viserys is looking for Rhaenyra and Alicent goes and finds her in the Godswood.
Yeah.
And Rhaenyra is talking to this bard. And I heard the take, maybe that bard is Mushroom. Mushroom the court fool.
Yeah.
Zach, I hate that take.
I hate that take because, he's supposed to be pretty well around in the area, and also isn't he supposed to be a dwarf?
He is supposed to be a dwarf. He's also supposed to be.
It'd feel weird if he wasn't.
Right. It would feel weird if they didn't make him a dwarf. However, I could maybe they Rhaenyra over the course of her arc is described as being surrounded by many beautiful singers.
Yeah.
And if they decided to merge Mushroom's character into one of those singers, I wouldn't be mad about that. I think that would be an interesting way to do it, because Mushroom's a hard character to do in a visual medium.
Yeah.
In much the same way that Patchface is hard to do.
Yeah, and it's going to immediately invite Tyrion comparisons, which are unfair, but going to happen with your audience. They're very different characters, but strictly because it's prominent dwarf character surrounded by non-dwarf political players. People are going to go for the immediate comparison that he's not meant to live up to.
Yes,
he's meant to be an entirely different person.
Correct.
But I wouldn't trust the same audience who watched season 8 for a minute to not get to like understand that rather.
Yes. So I don't care for that take, but it's a really interesting take. I think it's that's a neat take for sure. And finally, hold on, one of mine, House of the Dragon, God's Wood. In the God's Wood, Allison comes and finds Rhaenyra, and for some reason this is not adequately clicking. Comes and finds Rhaenyra, and she's like talking to this scene. She's the singer is playing the song about Rhaenys' death in Dorne. I think it's Through the Dragon's Eye, something like that. And he gets to the end of the song, and Rhaenyra goes, "Play it again." And he's like, "Are you sure you wouldn't like to listen to something different?" And she says, "Play it again." And while I was watching the episode live, I said, "Yeah, I listen to My Chemical Romance on repeat sometimes too."
It's too good. It's too funny.
So I have a task for the folks at home. I have a task related to this. I need you to take that scene and make it a meme format. Please. I need you to cut.
It'll be a good meme format.
Yep, clip that scene. The first, we hear the last few notes. Make it the last few notes of
whatever song.
Of any song. It doesn't matter. Any song. And then
it'll be funny in that context.
Yes. So the last couple notes play out, and then she's like, "Play it again. Are you sure you wouldn't like to hear something else? Play it again." And then you hear the do 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 do. I wanna be the very best. Whatever.
That's a good meme format.
I have been thinking about that. I haven't had time to make it. Somebody please make it at home. Please.
Are you sure you don't want to hear another song?
I have been thinking about that.
You can't leave me hanging like that, Tom.
Play it again.
Okay. Doing your mom.
Are you sure you wouldn't? Is the princess sure she wouldn't like to hear another song?
Just play it again.
All right. Somebody once told me the world is gonna hurt.
It's too good. It's too good.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Oh God, we're gonna be here forever. Oh my God. We'll save some for the audience. We give them a task.
Well, all right. I wanna fuck you like an animal.
I remember the part where Viserys Targaryen said, "My whole existence is flawed."
Oh God! Holy shit, Zach! I have been thinking about that for days. Somebody, please make that a meme format. I need it. Link it in the comments or send it to the send it to the fan art thing in the description, please. I need it. I need it so bad. Okay, now we can move on. Oh, shoot, Zach, we were supposed to talk about the new Discord we made at the beginning of this episode.
I guess we'll just say that for our next theory video, which is honestly going to get more views anyways.
You're not wrong.
We're also not going to swear in the first 4 minutes of that one. Hopefully.
You're right. I'll go ahead. I'll put it at the beginning of this episode. I'm sorry. I'll put it in the description. You can come join the Discord. We know that if you come join the Discord after hearing this 50 minutes into this episode, we know you're a real fan.
Yes. That's how we're gonna. That's the real fan check is whether you saw it in the beginning of the next video or the end of this one.
Okay. All right. Moving right along to the end of the episode. Let's say the last two scenes are the War Council, with the whole Valerian family, and Daemon's big dramatic battle. And I got stuff to talk about both of them. adding to the list of pithy one-liners. Hold on, let's see. Vaemond Valerion. Yeah, there we go. Adding to the list of pithy one-liners is Laenor Valerion turning and saying to Vaemond, what have you done for us? All you are is the master of complaints.
It was pretty good.
And I really liked it. It really caught me off guard.
Master of Complaints is a real fucking smart joke. Whoever wrote that one was patting themselves on the back.
That's a very good... They got to go home for the day.
All right, yeah. Congrats. That was the joke.
That's it. That's the joke. That's the whole... We can build the whole scene around that. They are talking about how they are losing the war. And Daemon comes back from some kind of raiding run while they are talking about the best way to move forward is to have somebody go and attack the crab feeder directly, go in and bait him out of the cave, and then we will prepare a sizable force for a big skirmish on the beach while all of their forces are engaged, because they've had this like guerrilla warfare campaign, which I compared to Japan's tactics in the Second World War. Hiding in complicated tunnels out of the way of air support.
Yeah, this is something famously when they were getting closer to the Japanese islands, they would hit like Okinawa and all these other places where they would have cave systems. And not only would Japanese soldiers go into caves, they would bring hostages down there too. And just make it like a miserable nightmare to try and get them out. Very famous aspect of World War II that I feel like, or maybe not famous aspect of World War II, but like notable aspect of World War II that like historians like to chat about.
Yes. And so they're talking about how the best way to get out of that, Daemon Targaryen fights Kraghas. The best way that they think to do that is to have somebody go and bait them out.
Yes.
And they're like, who would be that crazy?
And we know the answer.
Turns out it's Daemon Targaryen.
Mr. Punch the Messenger himself.
Yes.
I saw a phenomenal meme, by the way, where it's Jon Snow asking Maester Aemon, why do they use ravens to send letters? Because at one point, my ancestor, Daemon Targaryen, beat the shit out of a messenger.
Yeah, they don't send people anymore. So Daemon gets this letter, and this letter says, basically, I understand, it's from Viserys. He says, basically, I understand that we are failing at this war. We are sending 2,000 troops and a bunch of ships to help get us out of this pickle we are in, so that we can come home victorious. And this incenses Daemon to such a strong degree that he beats the shit out of the person who brings it and agrees to go on this suicidal mission.
Yes.
Which you can read that a couple of ways. Let me tell you how I read it. And then you can tell me how you read it.
Sure.
That Daemon was so angry at the thought of being a failure, at the thought of needing help, that he would actually literally rather die. And
yeah, that's part of my reading. It's not the entirety of it.
And when he charged in there, my first and immediate thought, and I've seen some disagreements with this online, my first and immediate thought was that this isn't a suicide mission in a metaphorical sense. I thought he was literally committing suicide by cop when doing this. I thought that he was actually trying to kill himself.
I thought he was taking himself hostage, letting himself get taken hostage on purpose to make the conflict harder to win at first, like as a spite thing. Like if my brother's gonna come here and win this conflict, I'm gonna make it so it just got a hell of a lot more complicated because they have a high-profile hostage.
That's an interesting take. That's an interesting take.
It's not what ended up happening, but
you don't think that he was trying to? You don't think he was trying to kill himself?
no. I mean, maybe like he was willing to take the risk for sure. I will say that. I think like politically, he needed that win way more than Viserys needed it. If he wants to legitimize himself as like, hey, Viserys is a schmuck who can't make the right decision. I'm the rightful heir. Like he needs a like solid W that Viserys had nothing to do with, and he is willing to like put his life on the line because him having a high profile failure that Viserys bailed him out of undercuts his entire political message to the point that it basically locks him out of the throne.
So then, I like your takes. I do. I will need to watch that scene a few more times to get a sense of it. I also think that
by reading the whole, like it was either literal or political suicide with a risk of him making it out okay on the literal side. And he'd rather literally put his life on the line than put his political ambitions on the line.
I find it interesting to hear you say that because I bet if in my reading he did not think about politics in those moments at all. I think that the only thing he thought about was my fucking brother is going to come save me. And
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
Yes, and you're right. It's got to be a combination of those factors. I liked it. I thought it was a great scene. That little like top of the barrel like makeshift war council table they had was awesome. I thought it was great. I loved Vaemond Valerian like trying to sow dissent in the crowd. I love Laenor Valerian, and also I love dragons. Yeah. So, push comes to shove, there's a big and I thought really excellent action set piece.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Other than the Valerian plot armor, but
now you say plot armor.
It's only a wee bit exaggerated.
Yeah,
they got it over with quicker than I thought they would.
And also, he did take 2 arrows to the chest.
I did appreciate that showed him walking away with some amount of injuries instead of just like miraculously unscathed.
Now, what I didn't like was he took 2 arrows to the chest and then continued into a sword fight.
Yeah, which we don't get to see.
Yes, which I didn't actually have a problem with. A lot of people had a problem with that. I didn't actually.
I don't have a major problem with it. I could see a lot of people complaining. I would have liked for the. I think my big complaint is that we didn't see the crab feeder like as much as I'd like, considering like they did a really, like I said, they did a really good job designing him. They did a really good job making him unique as like a villain. Like he feeds you to crabs. Like wow, that's legitimately kind of new and interesting.
Yeah.
I wish they would have done more of the character, but I can't complain too much. Like you said, the scene was pretty well done.
Yeah, it's just like he is just another piece of the world, and I am okay with that. His character serves to make Daemon and Corlys's characters more complicated, and I am okay with that. Can we talk about war crimes?
Sure, let's talk about war crimes.
Daemon Targaryen raises a white flag.
Yeah.
And then murders
people.
Yeah, he sure did. Yep. Sure did.
There's a big war crime for those who don't keep score at home. For those who don't play Fantasy Geneva Convention.
Please, with this crowd, who doesn't play Fantasy Geneva Convention?
That's true. It's a major no-no when you're at war. Is doing exactly what he does there.
Yeah, it's really generally frowned upon, actually.
I mean, Daemon specifically, but people in like Westeros don't really care about war crimes. So I'm sure we're going to see a good handful of war crimes and war crimes adjacent behavior throughout the rest of this show. Damon being a perpetrator, I think, is also very likely.
And I think it sets up some cool things about his character. That is the sort of thing he is willing to do, not just to win, but to prove something.
Yeah, because he could have won by waiting for the other soldiers to show up.
Yes, but he didn't want to. He would rather commit war crimes and put his own life at risk than wait for his brother.
It can't just be a win; it has to be his win.
Yeah, that's a good way to turn it. That's a good turn of phrase for it. Okay. I got a couple more. I think this might actually be the last thing I have. Zach, I think I was right.
About
Damon on Caraxes. I made that point about psychic dragons. About Damon calling Caraxes psychically when they were at that scene on the bridge. And at the beginning of the episode, when it was really dark and Damon was riding Caraxes and being like, "Come out, you coward! I'll feed you to my dragon." Damon takes an arrow to the side, and Caraxes reels.
Yes.
And I think I
blocking the next ones without like any prompting.
Yeah, I think I just straight up called that shit from 100 miles away.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm very pleased with myself. Oh my god, look at this cute drawing of Caraxes. Oh, you can't. You're not watching. You're not watching.
You never start streaming, correct?
That's okay. This one isn't for you. This one is for the folks at home. You don't get this one.
This one's for the folks at home. That's all right.
Yeah, this one's not yours. Zach, what's your scene of the week?
It is the bonfire scene. Scene of the week is the bonfire scene. The more scenes like that we have, the more I'm going to like this show. I come from a pedigree of television where we watch our characters reflect, we watch our characters go through heavy emotions, and that informs their earth-shattering actions later, a la Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and even to an extent Star Trek in those like 90s shows where we see the characters work through things emotionally before they usually work through them literally.
Yeah, mark your bingo cards because we're about to talk about Star Trek. I am reminded of the Four Lights episode, Zach.
Really?
Yes, I am. Because at the end of the Four Lights episode, he is sitting down with, I think it was Beverly, though it might have been Deanna. He's sitting down, and he says, at that last moment, I saw 5 lights. And we feel the weight of what happened to him on his shoulders.
Yes.
It's great. It's amazing. And talking about stuff is the thing about good shows.
It's watching the awesome things you saw have an impact on the characters.
There are 4 lights. There we go. Sorry, continue.
There are 4 lights. In this show, that scene did it very well. Where like all this politicking and scheming and like the arguments meant something to a character in what they want to get out of their life. In a way that was very beautifully done in that moment. I have nothing but good things to say about the bonfire scene, so that is my scene of the week.
I want to disagree and say the back of the barrel war council scene. But I think that I realistically cannot. Because the bonfire scene was too good. I think it has to be the bonfire scene for me too.
The War Council scene was good too. Like there were some solid scenes this episode. There are also some like head scratchers, but like they're covering a pretty long timeline. I'm gonna give them a break.
Yep, there's a couple of little head scratchers, but I know that I said this before, circa 2017. I am confident that those head scratchers will be paid off later. I am confident that this episode will be better on a rewatch.
I will cautiously agree to that.
Right,
I think so.
I'm feeling optimistic. How's that?
Or at the very least, I think like if they can have those heavy emotional moments done well in later points of the story, it'll be well worth it that they made the show at all. Because if they can keep that emotional consistency up when the stakes get very high and there's constantly interesting things happening, then we're in for a treat.
I agree wholeheartedly. Zach, do you have anything to add at the end of the episode?
No, that's all.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. Westworld started playing on my TV behind me.
Nice. Thank you, everybody, for joining our Westworld podcast.
Yeah.
We'll be back with the next episode next week.
Yeah. Join our Discord. Shall we say the first 20 people to join our Discord get a free subscription to the Interesting Nerd Club YouTube channel.
You just have to press the subscribe button.
Yep, there's a step or two that you have to take to redeem them, but you do get it for free. Everyone else has to pay.
Yes, correct.
On our Patreon.
I did set up a patron role that we're not using for the Discord.
Damn it!
Yeah. Just putting that out there. Maybe something we're considering.
All right, Zach. End on something funny.
Play it again.
Is my princess certain that she wouldn't like to hear something else?
Play it again.
Ave